boy Henny Demore over here at HTM Sports. How is everybody doing this fine evening, man? So, I just wanted to tap in with y'all. There's been a lot of Cowboy news circulating around the internet today. Stephen Jones spoke on a couple topics. So, I got to react to what he said, give my thoughts and opinions on that. There's a couple of off-season trade rumors and things like that. So, we're going to touch on all those subjects, man. So, everybody that's tapping in with me, please go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We're trying to grow the content, grow the channel, get it to where it can be monetized so I can invest back in the platform so I can improve the show for y'all liking. So, we're just going to start off like that, man. So, everybody, please go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And then, we're going to jump right into it, man. We're going to jump right into it. So yeah, man, Stephen Jones actually said a lot today, right? And one of those things, that's not mentioned in the title is his words on the Amari Cooper thing, right? He said they probably didn't handle the situation correctly, and that's the most captain obvious thing he could say. Like, of course you didn't handle the situation, you know, the way that you thought you would, right? Amari Cooper was only going to cost the Dallas Cowboys $20 million to keep. And then he ended up only costing $5 million against the cap for the Cleveland Browns because he did a restructure. So Amari Cooper could have easily still been a Dallas Cowboy. He could have easily still gave us that production. We would not have had that massive drop off behind CeeDee Lamb if that was the case. Our season might have went a completely different way if Amari Cooper was still a Dallas Cowboy. But that's neither here nor there. That move is something that's already done. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. It's done. It's over with. But I am going to talk about his comments about Dak Prescott. And, those are the most important. Eastside Harold, what's up with you, man? This is our resident Cowboy hater tapping in on the program with us. But hey, my boy cool though. He good people. So what's up with you, Eastside? Chris Davis, Dak signing an extension? Well, that is the looks of it. So Stephen Jones came out and said that they have to figure out a way to get Dak Prescott to on the extension, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to pull up the exact quote. I'm going to pull up the exact quote, read it verbatim, and then we'll go from there. Because he said a lot of things about Dak Prescott, right? He said he believes that Dak Prescott is a quarterback that can win us a Super Bowl. He said he believes in his leadership skills, impeccable work ethic. Other than he hadn't won some key playoff games, he's everything you want in a quarterback. For the day he walked in the door, he's won a lot of games. We just got to get over the hump. All right, that's what he said about Dak. And then to add on, good to see you, HTL. Hey, what's up, Brian Kite? I appreciate you tapping in with me. I appreciate you. So yeah, let's see. Let me find the exact quote. I usually have all this stuff pulled up. This is really impromptu show, so it was a little ghetto. Please excuse me. I just worked all day, came in. All this stuff was going on while I was at work, man. I didn't have time to really get a chance to jump on here when it happened, when it was breaking news, and give y'all my thoughts. But I got off at about 6 o'clock. Had time to look at my family for a second. I got time to jump in. So yeah. But let me see. Stephen Jones, Dak Prescott extension. Cause I gotta find this exact quote. Cause I want y'all to hear exactly what he said. This is the quote from 7 hours ago. We've got to have a plan to ultimately extend Dak Prescott. Right, that's the quote. They said they have to have a plan, and it makes perfect sense when you actually look at how Dak Prescott's contract is structured. Hey, what's up with you, Nelly Rogers? I appreciate you for tapping in. I appreciate you tapping in with me. So yeah, so like when you look at how Dak Prescott's contract is structured, it's only the smartest thing to do is to extend him, right? Because Dak Prescott cap hit this season, if he's not extended or you don't do anything with that money, it's going to be $49 million, right? So that is the highest cap hit of his career, and that's something that is avoidable. That's something that's very avoidable. Because listen, you clear up. I think the estimated number of cap space you clear the first year is $22 million. Right? Hey, Joshua Fisher, what's up with you, man? I appreciate you for tapping in with me. So you cleared $22 million, giving Dak Prescott an extension. Plus, if you extend Dak Prescott now, before the quarterback market balloons again, you will get Dak Prescott at another premium rate, right? Before Joe Burrow signs his contract, before Justin Herbert signs his contract, before the young guys reset the market. Thomas Garrett, what's up with you? I appreciate you for coming in over here and tapping in with me. So yeah, before the market resets again, like you can extend Dak Prescott, get him at a relative discount for what he's playing for, and you can be right back, competing. You'll have cap space to go out and shop and sign, premier free agents. You'll have everything you need just by extending Dak Prescott. There's other things you could do. You could cut Zeke or restructure him. You could restructure Tyrone or cut him. You know, like those are other cap moves that they can make. Odds are Jordan Lewis is out. He's probably gonna be a cap casualty. So like, there's moves that the Dallas Cowboys can make. Just by touching a couple people's money and clearing a ton of cap space, right? So, and signing Dak Prescott to an extension, that's the smartest thing to do. And what's really tripped me out though is a lot of people are still mad at Dak Prescott and they're not thinking rationally, right? I've been on Facebook, I've been on Twitter, I've been seeing these folks type this nonsense like trade that, cut that, go in for a young quarterback in the first round. Things that don't make any sense and are not even actually possible, right? Because we already know the key details to Dak Prescott's contract, right? Dak Prescott has a no trade clause. Unless he improves where he wants to be traded to, Dak Prescott can veto any trade and remain a Dallas Cowboy regardless, right? And just like somebody tried to argue, well, no trade clause doesn't mean he can't be traded. Nobody wants to stay somewhere that he's not wanted. Yeah, that's true. But just like Derek Carr vetoed the trade to the Saints, right? Because he has a no trade clause. Like Dak Prescott can do the same, right? If Dak Prescott is knowingly has to go somewhere else to compete, because you don't want him no more, then why would Dak Prescott allow himself to be traded to a team and that team give you up key assets, right? Why would Dak Prescott allow himself to be traded? Let's say we wanted to trade Dak Prescott to the New England Patriots, right? And the Patriots were going to give up their next 3 first round picks. Well, Dak Prescott can say no to the trade, force you to cut him, and then just go and sign with the New England Patriots, the free agent. That way, he'll be on the team, and they will still have those draft picks to build around him so he can compete. Like nobody is going to cripple the team that they're going to go to. They have the opportunity to not do that. So like there is no way in hell Dak Prescott allows himself to be traded for one. Right. So if there's a situation where Dak Prescott is not on this team, you're cutting him. If you're cutting Dak Prescott, you're eating a lot of dead money, and you're crippling your ability to go out and sign key contributors in the offseason. So there's really no win-win in getting Dak Prescott off the team. There's really no win-win because really the smartest thing to do is to just extend him, like I was saying. Like the thing is, people, and yes, like people are very emotional. Like nobody is saying that Dak Prescott is Jesus and cleats. We're not saying that. But what we are saying is Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback. He has the numbers and the resume to prove it. He's won, you know, almost 2-1 since he's been in the NFL, right? He has almost double the wins than he does losses. You hardly seen Dak Prescott lose games. Man only has 36 losses in 7 years. So, to say that there are other available options, just running around out there in the streets that are better than Dak Prescott is not true. That's not a true statement. And a lot of these people make these comments and make these accusations. They don't even watch a lot of football like that. They watch only the damn Dallas Cowboys. They watch the Dallas Cowboys on Sundays, and that's it. They don't watch. They don't watch any of the other quarterbacks they actually claim are better than Dak Prescott. They don't watch Justin Herbert. They don't watch Aaron Rodgers. They don't watch Josh Allen. They don't watch none of these guys. They might catch them twice a year in a prime time game. And they play good those two games, and you already are looking at them from a skewed perspective. You watch 17 games of Dak Prescott, and you only done watched one or two games, of this other player. So that other player played good those the two times you watched him. You automatically think he does that the full 17 games, right? So they're looking at these other quarterbacks from unrealistic expectations. Like all these guys struggle. All these guys throw interceptions. All these guys lose games. And really, when you look at it, Dak Prescott's been in the league for 7 years, right? The only guys that actually won a Super Bowl in that amount of time, Tom Brady won 3, Patrick Mahomes won 2, Nick Foles won 1, and then Matthew Stafford won 1. So there's only been 4 quarterbacks in the last 7 years that even won a Super Bowl. Because we don't count participation trophies over here. Just because you went to the Super Bowl and you lost, you don't get any brownie points for that. Right? There's plenty of quarterbacks that have been to a Super Bowl and lost, and we don't talk about them, in that esteem. So the only quarterbacks that actually got their team to the promised land were Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, and Nick Foles since Dak Prescott's been in the league. Just those 4 guys. Everybody else you can say has underachieved, right? Because even the guys that went, with the exception of Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts played phenomenal. Joe Burrow did not have the best Super Bowl appearance in the world. Like he was average in the Super Bowl at best, right? Cam Newton, he went to a Super Bowl. He was not good in the Super Bowl. So going to the Super Bowl and not winning is not an achievement. Because think about it, the shoe was on the other foot, and it was Dak Prescott. He got us to the Super Bowl, and we lost. No matter how good he played, like the people that hate Dak Prescott, would not let him make it. So that is not a crowning achievement, going to the Super Bowl and losing. So there's only 4 quarterbacks that actually done got their teams over the hump since in the last 7 years. Philly loves being the last loser, Henny. Hey, Mark, hey man, you ain't lied about that. Like I've been seeing so many guys run around with their participation trophies proudly on display, man. We don't do that. But this is the same fan base that was celebrating NFC Championship games, up until 2017. They were celebrating NFC Championship appearances. I don't know nothing about that. But yeah, and look at Dak Prescott's production, right? Like Dak Prescott has four and exceeded his contracts, right? Because I made a tweet earlier. This is my own words, right? So this is Henny the Moore talking. I said, boom. Let me get it pulled up because I got the numbers right here. All right. So Dak Prescott, and this is the thing. People love like counting Dak Prescott's money, and they love throwing around Dak Prescott's a $40 million a year quarterback. Well, technically he is, but you know what's crazy? Even though Dak Prescott is a $40 million a year quarterback, he has never, he has never accounted for $40 million against the cap in his career. Like Dak Prescott actually has only cost the Dallas Cowboys $20 million or more one time in his entire career, and that was when they franchise tagged him. So he made $30+ million that year. But all the other times in Dak Prescott's career, like he has made next to no money. Because remember, he was a 4th-round pick. 2016, his cap hit was $545,000. 2017, his cap hit was $635,000. 2018, his cap hit was $725,000. 2019, his cap hit was $2 million. 2020, the franchise tag was $31.4 million, right? Then his cap hit was only $17. Last year, his cap hit was only $19.7 million. So Dak Prescott, for all the folks that have been complaining, Dak Prescott has not cost us really any money against the cap. Like you can say what you want about the man, but for what you're paying him, cap wise, he has far and exceeded anything you could ask for. Like people love comparing him to Kirk Cousins, but Kirk has been expensive for a long time. $19.9 million in 2016, $23.9 million in 2017, 24 million in 2018, 29 in 2019, 2020 was 21 million, 2021 was 31 million, 2022 was $31 million. So and when you look at their production, their actual wins, Dak Prescott is 61-36. In the last 7 years, Kirk Cousins is 61, 49, and 2. Right. So for what we're paying, we're getting exactly what we're supposed to get out of Dak Prescott. He's putting up top 10 quarterback numbers in the regular season. And like he is when at least he has multiple playoff wins, with Kirk Cousins does not. So like when you look around at these other quarterbacks that are making more money, you're getting more bang for your buck with Dak Prescott. So and realistically, Dak Prescott has not prevented you from signing any free agents, right? Because listen, he was a fourth round pick, so he was making. He only made $4 million on his first contract the first 4 years. Then 2021, like I said, $17 million cap hit. 2022, $19 million cap hit. Like that's nothing for a quarterback. Like we are paying pass rushers that kind of money. Like D Law was making had like a $20 million cap hit. Like that's pass rusher money. That's not quarterback money. So this idea that Dak Prescott contract is an arbitrage that is preventing us from signing free agents is not. The front office has just been incompetent in putting adequate talent around Dak Prescott. And with the way that his contract is structured, it's going to be under $40 million again. Because once he restructures, what I'm pretty sure he will, like I said, it's going to clear out $22 million of cap space. So odds are Dak Prescott is probably going to only play for like $27 million on the cap. Now his money is still going to say $40+ million a year, but that's not counting the money that's paid in cash, right? Because in 2017, Dak Prescott, in 2021, Dak Prescott actually made $80 million, but only 17 million of it went against the cap. I don't care about the cash money. I only care about the cap. That's all we should care about. Because that's the only thing that goes against us signing players. The cap hit, the cap number. So they could give Dak Prescott $200 million in one single season. But if that cap hit is only $15 million, only $19 million, I do not give a damn. I ain't no pocket watcher. He said, get Ramsey, proven DT, proven wide receiver, and draft O-line, linebacker, wide receiver, running back, cornerback. I would love that. And you know what? We're going to segue into that in a little bit once I finish with my Dak Prescott rant. All right, once I finish with that, we'll jump right into that, because that boy's, he actually requested for a trade, and Dallas is on his wish list. So we're definitely going to talk about Jalen Ramsey. Adding him to this team, what they would do for us, in our ability to compete. But that is a very solid move, and I do agree. All those positions you listed are positions of needs that we have to address. But yeah, but this notion that Dak Prescott is costing you an arm and a leg is just not true. You got all these guys making way more money that have actually accomplished less. I know people love to rag on Dak Prescott, but look around the league. Look around the league. Derek Carr, who was finna sign with some team and get a nice contract, has never won a playoff game. Has lower career completion percentage, lower career passer rating, all these different things. Right? He has been a worse quarterback than Dak Prescott. But he still is gonna go somewhere and sign a nice lucrative contract, and people are gonna get behind him. Carson Wentz, who has been traded 2 times and cut, is probably still going to get a starting quarterback job somewhere. Right? And he was a guy that got paid right before Dak Prescott, making over $30 million annually. And he can't stay on the team at this point. Look at somebody like Kyler Murray, right? Never won a playoff game, never passed for 30 touchdowns, never passed for 4,000 yards. Right. So, there's a plenty of quarterbacks that have been playing worse than Dak Prescott these last couple of years. Right. And listen, Every single season that Dak Prescott has been under this new contract, we have at least made the playoffs. Right? We have double digit wins both seasons, made the playoffs both seasons. And Dak Prescott won us a road playoff game for the first time in 30 years. Beat Tom Brady for the first time in franchise history. So, these things matter. Like, these are the things that you can build on going forward into next season. And I get it. You're upset with how you played the last game. You're emotional about it. I understand. But let's look at the cold hard facts. Let's take our feelings out of it and look at the facts. Statistically, no matter if you like him or if you don't like stats or any of that other bull, y'all be telling me. Statistically, he is one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League. Dak Prescott is eighth all time in career completion percentage, eighth all time in career passer rating, and ninth all time in touchdown to interception ratio. And he is also in the top 25 all time in career win percentage among quarterbacks. You are not going to go anywhere and find somebody with that resume right now and expect them to come in and be better than Dak Prescott. The only way you can move on from Dak Prescott is if he agrees to get traded, which he will not. He fought way too hard to get that no trade clause in there to throw it away. Like, people are very stupid when it comes to these things. Like, somebody was saying, yeah, let's give him an extension. Let's make sure you take the no trade clause. There's no way in hell when they renegotiate that Prescott is going to get rid of his no trade clause. That's not how that works. An extension is just going to add years onto his contract. So, like, the framework of his contract, like the no trade clause, this, that, and the third, that's going to pretty much be the same. The skeleton of the contract is going to remain the same. You're just going to be adding years, changing cap hits, and things along those lines. Hey, Double R, what's up with your rich game? I appreciate you tapping in with me, man. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, Wentz just got cut again today. Yeah, I saw, man. So, like, yeah, like, there are plenty of quarterbacks that have been worse than Dak Prescott. Like, he is easily a top 10 quarterback. Easily. This not even debatable. And like, for people saying like they don't like stats, they be looking at wins. They must don't be looking at wins either. Because I could have sworn Dak Prescott was fifth in wins since he came to the league. Man, 61 and 36. So, like, he wins a lot of games. He wins way more than he loses. So, be mad, be upset, throw away your Cowboys paraphernalia. Boycott the game because he getting an extension. I don't care. He's your quarterback. He's the best option available. You can't get rid of him. So, you know, if you don't feel strongly about Dak Prescott, cool. Then make the team around him better. If you don't think Dak Prescott can be better, then make the team around him better. Because worst quarterbacks have won Super Bowls. So, that's really all I'm going to say about that. Because, I do not try to come off as like a Dak Prescott caper defender or anything like that. Right? But, I am the type of person that wants y'all to be realistic. Right? I'm not saying Dak Prescott is Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's in the top four, top five. Like, Dak Prescott is anywhere between 6 and 10 as a quarterback, depending on how you feel about the other guys in the field and his production. Like, if you put Dak Prescott anywhere from 6 to 10, that's about the range he is as a player. That is more than good enough to win with, right? Because people will have the audacity to say we're stuck with Dak. Like, if he's a top 10 quarterback, then that means there are at least 22 other teams that he will be an upgrade on. There are at least 22 other teams that Dak Prescott will be an upgrade on. So, there are plenty of he has a big market. People act like quarterbacks grow on trees. That's why Carson Wentz, stays with a job. That's why people were still taking flyers on Sam Bradford, even though he had that injury history when he was still around. That's why guys like Alex Smith, could stay in the league. Like, great, like, good quarterbacks, like, not even good, like, starting caliber quarterbacks are next to impossible to find. They're just like good women. So when you find a good woman, you lock it up, you hold on to them. It's the same thing with a starting quarterback. That they don't grow on trees. It's hard to find just competent quarterback play. Dak broke his leg and hand and still good. Watch this season. Y'all will see, heard it here first. I believe that. But listen, this man broke his thumb, right? He broke his thumb, missed 5 games, wasn't fully healthy, had a bad wide receiving core, had one of the worst offensive lines in terms of pass protection, and he still went out there and helped us win games. Right. So, like this notion, like Dak Prescott was just playing with a loaded deck, like he had a super team and he held us back. It's stupid. It's stupid. We had average talent outside of CD Lamb at pass catcher. And, he still went out there and, we were the number one scoring offense with the boy. So, you don't like Dak Prescott as a personal thing. That's a you problem. That's a you problem. Because he does everything required, to be the franchise quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. It takes way more than just one guy for us to actually win a championship. What did B Bird say? He talk about stop the cap. You must have said something trill because I know you be in here hating, Ken folk. You be in here hating Harold, so I got to know what did B Bird say. He said it's here first. He said, oh, he said, he said, Least Side Harold is here first. That's what number one fans do. Uh, man, hey, Eastside cool people though, man. Eastside good people, man. He always tap in with your boy, so I appreciate the company. And listen, whether you a Cowboy fan or not, man, it's always cool for folks to stop by. You a Texan fan, Steelers fan, 49ers fan. It don't matter. Tap in. We'll talk football, man. It don't even matter. It don't even matter. So yeah, now that we done covered this Dak Prescott stuff, which I done talked about 100 times. What fingers hold the bottom of the ball? Period. Your thumb. Yeah, yeah, like Dak Prescott. You know, and he played much better than anybody could have expected after coming off a broken thumb. Get the extension done, Steven. Yeah, man. Like that is a priority. And like there's nothing that you even need to wait to do because if you don't extend Dak Prescott, it's going to get hard for you to come up with the cap space you need to make your team better. It's going to get very hard because you're already $7 million over the cap. Extending Dak Prescott, you put you about $15 million in the green, right? So you went from being $7 million in the negative in the red to $15 million in the green. Then if you cut Tyron, that's another $10 million. So you're $25 million to the good right there. Then if you restructure Zeke, let's say Zeke cap hit comes down from 16 million to 8 million, right? So if you restructure Zeke and keep him on the team, to go from 16 million, like let's say $8 million, then that will put you at $33 million in cap space just with those three moves. If you restructure Zeke, restructure Dak, and cut Tyron, then you're going to be $33 million in the positive, and that's a lot of money to work with. Because remember, you could sign these guys for whatever annually, and then the cap hit don't be worth a quarter. Because remember, like I said, Dak Prescott made $80 million the first year of his contract, only 17 when it gets the cap. Right? So these guys can make a lot of money, first year of their contract, and it still be cap friendly. Don't let them tell you any. Don't let the boys tell you anything otherwise. Like the cap is very easily manipulated, and the teams that have the most success are the ones that are able to manipulate it. That gonna rise, gonna surprise. Oh, hey, I appreciate that, man. Hey, Dwayne Brown, I appreciate you for the $10 donation, my guy. I appreciate the love, brother. Yeah, man, Dak is gonna ball, man. Dak is gonna ball. Like I have no questions about that because from where I'm standing, this last season was an outlier. He's never thrown this many interceptions before. He never played this poorly before. And really, you can't even say that Dak Prescott was really playing that poorly, right? And I don't know. Did y'all watch the film breakdown me and Landlord did? Because we did a long film breakdown on Dak Prescott's interceptions, and it was very insightful, man. Because yeah, we went and looked and no, it's all down here from here for Dak. Man, you don't even believe that. Trying to help you get that new like, yeah, man. I sure do appreciate that. I should have one by next week. All right, Thomas saw it. Yes, and I always that. Yeah, man. So yeah, Tab. Yeah, matter of fact, you was in there with us, man. So yeah, and I was grading. I was grading very stingently, right? Because like, and it varies, but I said that five of them. Eastside good, man. He trolled, but he good though. But yeah, I said that five of them, were not Dak Prescott's fault. Landlord said six. Even one of the Dak Prescott haters in the chat was like, well, yeah, it was probably like 10-5. 10 really was Dak, and five was on the receivers and the scheme, right? So either way, and then like Pro Football Focus said seven wasn't on Dak. So there's varying degrees to it. But at the bare minimum, because like ten for Dak and five was like the low end. Well, at the bare minimum, right? A third of Dak Prescott's interception was not his fault. A third of them, a third of them. So that tells you all you need to know. So if the so let's not take away all Dak Prescott's interceptions, right? Let's not take away all of them, but let's say that five of them weren't his fault, right? If we can get to the point where the five that were not his fault, don't occur, you're looking at Dak Prescott completely different right now, right? You're looking at him completely different. A lot wasn't on Dak when we had T. Will. Yeah, I remember that too. Hey, how are you doing tonight, Double R? 9 or 10 on Dak, rest were on coaching. Yeah. So you're looking at Dak Prescott a completely different way if you just clean up the ones that weren't his fault, and those are the ones that are preventable. If you get better pass catchers that are not, ad living on their routes, if you get better pass catchers that are not bobbling balls to the defenders, right? If you clean up your pass protection, then like those couple of miscues that weren't on him can get resolved fairly easily. You can resolve that fairly easily. Waiting on the woman so we can go eat. Bless her heart. I know that's right, man. See, my wife was nice enough to cook for me today and fried me up some pork chops, some greens. I ate good today. Ate real good today. But yeah, let's jump into this Jalen Ramsey discussion. So and I'll be very blunt with y'all, man. I don't know if they would make the move. It would probably take the number 26 overall pick. I'm fine with that. Listen, if we were going to go out there and try and draft somebody like Gonzalez, from Oregon, or draft Joey Porter Jr., or one of these other young cornerbacks that's supposed to be dogs, why not turn that pick into Jalen Ramsey, right? Why not just turn that pick into Jalen Ramsey? Because he's already a proven commodity. Jalen Ramsey is 29 years old, if I'm not mistaken. He's 29 or 28. He was drafted in 2016, along with in the same draft class as Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. So he's around that age. He's like 28. He's in between 28 and 29 to 30. But he's not old. He's not. It's not like Terrence Newman when he was still running around with at damn near 40 or anything like that. He's still a fairly young cornerback. So matter of fact, let's pull up Jalen Ramsey. Let's just look at everything. So he's 28 years old. He won't be 29 until October. So he's still very young, right? And let's see. Had 4 interceptions last year. Let's see. Started all 17 games. Had two forced fumbles. Had his first two career sacks. Oh, okay. And made another Pro Bowl selection. So you know what? He played pretty damn good. And let's see. I'm not high on Pro Bowls anyway, but he did make his. Let's see. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. He made his eight straight Pro Bowl selection. That's saying something. The man only been in the league for. Yeah, he only been in the league this that long. Oh, he made his seventh straight Pro Bowl selection. My bad. But yeah, I definitely would get Jalen Ramsey. He's an upgrade at cornerback too. He's very physical. He's a dog. He could play slot outside. He could play safety in certain positions. So like Jalen Ramsey's a dog, man. Like he's a dog. JC Cowboys Network in the chat. Go check out his show and pass the love around for our guys. I would definitely do that, man. JC Cowboys Network, man. I'm definitely gonna give your page a like, and a subscribe, man. Matter of fact, boom. I just went and subscribed to your channel, kinfolk. So I appreciate the love and tapping in over here, kinfolk. He said, JC Cowboys Network, don't come up here selling dreams. Hey man, we don't sell dreams, man. We just talking that real cowboy talk, man. No, we talking numbers and analytics and all the other stuff, man. We don't sell no dreams. We know that our front office are penny pinchers, but just because they be out here tripping, thanks ATM. You will like the way I break down our players, brother. No doubt about that, man. No doubt. Hey, how are you doing today, JC Cowboys Network? Okay, let's see. But yeah, Jalen Ramsey is definitely an upgrade. Because when you think about it, we have no choice but to go out and get another cornerback, and I think their hands are really tied. Because if Anthony Brown was healthy, they might try and be cheap about it. But Anthony Brown ruptured his Achilles. Anthony Brown ruptured his Achilles. There is no telling when he will be back. There's no telling when he will be back. So like because of what happened, like they can't sit on their hands and wait to address the issue. They're going to have to either go out and draft a guy to play cornerback too, or they're going to have to go out and in free agency and pick somebody up or trade for somebody. But with Anthony Brown's injury and with how how up and down the guys behind him were, it is a no brainer to improve that position. Will it be Jalen Ramsey? I do not know. I would love for it to be Jalen Ramsey, but just to be honest with you, man, our front office are the kind of guys that would go and get Marcus Peters with his injury history, before they went out and traded assets for Jalen Ramsey. And, they like taking flyers on players who were great that have injuries now, and betting on them and things like that. I would love for the Jalen Ramsey thing to happen, but like I don't have faith in Stephen Jones being aggressive. I want him to. See, Henny, you living life good, respect. Oh yeah, no doubt, man. When people show me love, man, I'll be trying to show the love back. Henny, what do you think about Sutton or Jones from New England? Uh, let's see. New England. Oh, you talk about the cornerback. Okay. Yeah, I like the cornerback from New England. Is he a free agent or is he somebody we would have to trade for? Jonathan Jones. Okay, let's take a look at him. Jonathan Jones had 4 interceptions last year, 69 tackles. All right, let me take a look. I'm gonna pull up his advanced stats and I'll tell you yay or nay on it. Okay. So Jonathan Jones, 5'10, 190. excuse me, is slated to run a 4.33. He was drafted in 2016. Wow. Okay. So he's older than I thought he was, but you know, he just now got his opportunity to really play. So let's take a look. He had a 68 overall grade. He had a grade of a 70 as a run defender. His coverage grade was a 67.9. All right. Booyah. Let's take a look at all this other stuff. He got toe up though. So he got his hand on the ball, but he gave up six. He gave up 6 touchdowns, 543 yards, 206 yards worth of yak, and allowed a reception percentage of 53.5. That one wasn't bad though. 53.5 isn't bad. The 6 touchdowns though is something. He also gave up a completion of 49 yards. Okay, so I don't know. I got to take a look and see what Jalen Ramsey did to compare it. D'Amico Rhymes will turn Derek Stingley into a Pro Bowler. ATN, what you think, Ramsey? You think Ramsey coming? I hope Ramsey coming. He won't, and this is the thing. When players tell you that they want to play for you, you should go out and get those players. That's just how I feel about it. Because he has openly stated he would like to play for the Dallas Cowboys. That's one of the teams that he wants to get traded to. Is on his wish list. He grew up a Dallas Cowboys fan. He said when he grew up, he was a fan of the Cowboys, and I think he said the Cowboys and the Titans were his two teams, if I'm not mistaken, because he gave an interview about how he felt slighted about not getting drafted. So yeah, so guys like that, you bring them in. Guys like that, you bring them in. And like I was saying, if you were going to use your first round pick on a cornerback any damn way, then instead of betting on a rookie to come in and play like an all pro his first time out the gate and be ready to contribute to a Super Bowl team, instead of having all these hope and aspirations for a kid who was just eating free lunch, how about you go out and get a proven veteran wide receiver, cornerback who was a former first round pick himself, who was a former All Pro, who made a Pro Bowl this year and has already played and won in the Super Bowl. He said Cowboy wasn't good when he was growing up. We weren't winning Super Bowls, but we were a good regular season team. And that just happens when you're a good franchise, right? Because the Red Sox, right? Let's use baseball for comparison. They were horrible for years and years, and they thought they had a curse until they finally broke through and won. So it doesn't always matter, if a team is winning championships when somebody's young, because the team was popular. Like we were popping, we had went out and got we always had five jerseys. We always had some stuff going around us, for us to stay in the limelight. We had just won our Super Bowls in the 90s. So, early 2000, that wasn't that far removed from when we last won a Super Bowl. We won a Super Bowl in 1996, early 2000s, right? That wasn't even a full decade. We had just won our titles really. So, of course this team would have still been popular and popping when he was young. Now, I know he wasn't winning a lot of championships or anything like that, but we still were putting out, competitive teams and things like that. So, and besides, listen, your team has not been good most of your life. You're a Houston Texas fan, but you're still a fan. So, like that kind of stuff happens all the time, my guy. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Like, hell, I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. So, it's like we had some issues, man. Like we had some issues. We were competitive, but we always used to have the playoff letdowns. Then Dirk Nowitzki finally had the 2011 season. We beat Braun and them in the finals. Had some down years after that. Then we went out and got Luka Doncic. So like I understand. But like fandom is fandom. Whether your team is getting their ass toe up or beating teams by 20, your team is your team. What do you think about Joey Porter Jr. HTM? He is a great who is overly confident in his physical ability. I like Joey Porter though, but like he take a lot of damn chances, man. But I like him as a prospect. I like him, but like he got some things he need to polish up. But he's definitely worth a first round pick. Like even with the small critiques I have, like I would if he's there on the board at 26, I definitely would take him. If we're going that route, and with cornerback. But it also depends on who else is on the board, right? So we're moving to a West Coast offense. We're going to pass the ball. So if Jordan Addison's on the board and he's on board at the same time, then I'm gonna be pressed. I don't know who the hell to draft. He has things he need to clean up for sure. When you go to my channel, check that breakdown I did first, bro. Bet I'm gonna definitely do that, man. In fact, that's gonna be the first one I go look at once I get off the show. Yeah, I take Joey Porter. I take Gonzalez. I don't think either one of those guys are going to fall to us unless there's a run in another position, right? And they say that, but it's possible. You know, because remember, Trayvon Diggs were projected to us in the first round of 2020 because we needed cornerback. There was a run of wide receivers, so he failed because all those guys got drafted in 2020. So he got knocked down into the second round. We were still able to get him. But if there's a run at one at like a key position, if there's a run at like quarterback or a run at wide receiver or a run at pass rusher, then there's a possibility for one of these guys to fall to us. But I just got to see how that would work out. But I definitely would take either one of those guys, Joey Porter, Gonzalez. I like both of those both of those guys in the first. Hey, you welcome anytime, my boy. You welcome anytime, man. But yeah, what else did y'all want to talk about, man? Because we talked about the Dak Prescott discussion, why it makes sense for him to get extended. And if you were late coming in here and you don't know why it's smart for Dak Prescott to get extended, right? You would save $22 million against the cap. You would keep a top 10 quarterback on your roster for longer, and it would improve your ability to go out and add players to your team. That is the summarized version of it. Like even if you do not like Dak Prescott, right? If you don't like Dak Prescott, you sure in hell don't want him to count for $49 million against your cap, right? Okay, so to prevent that for you Dak haters, if you don't want Dak to make $49 million this year against your cap, you extend them so you can move the money around, right? So Dak haters, like it's a win for you too. It clears up the salary cap space. Let's hope the Eagles don't sign him. Eagles got a bunch of things they need to do. They do got a top 10 pick though, so there's no telling who they will pick. So as I'm not concerned. The Eagles, man, they're gonna be playing a first place schedule, right? They got a bunch of guys on their team that are either free agents or need to be resigned. They got a couple guys that could possibly be retiring. So they got a bunch of things on their own end they need to sort out before I'm worried about them signing a kid. And don't get me wrong, I love the prospects, but I never put real expectations on guys fresh out of college. Right? I never put real expectations on guys like that because it's not fair to them. Let's be honest. Like we're up here trying to compete for a Super Bowl, and we're expecting guys who never played in the NFL to come in, contribute, and play meaningful football. Right? If it happens, it happens, and the more power to them kids. They playing above their means and all the other stuff. But man, Heaney will break down the numbers. That's facts. Oh yeah, always, man, always, man. I like doing the numbers. If we don't make the numbers don't match up, then 9 times out of 10, then it's not true. And there are exceptions, because numbers without context are just numbers. But I try to give numbers and then give the proper context to what the hell we're looking at. Because I can go out because numbers can be manipulated too. I can go from a certain time span intentionally so I can exclude a certain amount of stats or exclude this and exclude that by just focusing on this particular time frame. And I can skew the numbers. So that's why I try to give you all the numbers with all the context so you can make the right decision about what you believe and what not to believe. Cowboys Nation, be safe, bless, double R out. Always, man. I appreciate you for tapping in, man. Holler at me next time that I get jump on here, brother. What did you think about Damian scoring 71 points? That boy a dog. And I hate that for Damian too, man, because he needs some help over there in Portland. They have not put any real talent around him. And when he did have LA, like Dame wasn't this good yet. They were able to stay together and LA was able to stay healthy, different things, they would have had a better shot. But yeah, I hate it. I don't think he ever gonna get over the hump by himself. But that was a spectacular game that he played. Let's see, hit the like button. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, everybody that's in here, please hit the like and subscribe button, hit the share button. And hey, if you're feeling generous, I do have the Cash App pinned to the top. So I appreciate y'all for all the love and support, man. But yeah, what else y'all want to talk about, man? We done touched on Dak Prescott. We done touched on Jalen Ramsey. Who is somebody else that you're interested in? Who is somebody else that you want the Dallas Cowboys to pursue, either via free agency or via trade? Put it in the comment box for me. It's a long off season, man. So when stuff like this happens and there's talking points, we're gonna get on here. We're gonna break bread. We're gonna talk, chop it up about it. Because in between now and the next time that there's NFL football, it's a long ass time, my people. It's a long ass time. But you know, we got to get through it together. September's a long way away from now. I'm at the point where I'm probably gonna start watching some of these XFL games. And that makes sense too, because some of these guys are probably gonna end up on the Dallas Cowboys roster. We saw it with Turpin. We saw it around the league with other guys getting added. So no, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the free agents that we add is actually playing in the XFL right now as we speak. Guys like that are usually cheap. Just got in. Is there any truth or possibility we can trade for from Buffalo? I don't think there's any truth to it. Reason being, like we haven't even given Trayvon an extension, right? Like Trayvon is possibly going to hold out. He unfollowed the Dallas Cowboys. There's ongoing contract talks for an extension probably looming. There's no way in hell they're going to trade for his brother. When they don't even have things right with Trayvon. So I don't think that's actually going to happen right now. I would like for it to happen. It makes sense, to bring somebody like Stephon Diggs in, who is still a premier wide receiver in the NFL. But you know, um, I don't think it's really something that's going to happen. All right, nose tackle. I would definitely love a nose tackle. I don't think Deron Payne is going to be available because I think he's getting a franchise tag. But let's look at the free agent nose tackle since you brought up that position. So let's see. I'm gonna pull up that position of defensive tackle. Let's see. All right, boom, defensive tackle. So I got defensive tackle free agents pulled up. And here's the list of the guys. And there's some names on here, man. There's some damn good names on here. Hold on now. All right, so peep this. Fletcher Cox, all right, 32, played 674 snaps with the Eagles, still had 7 sacks, a forced fumble, 43 total tackles. A little bit longer in the tooth, 32 years old, will be 33 by the time the season starts. Still not a bad player by any means. Hargrave is 30 exactly, played 671 snaps, had 60 tackles, and 11. Hargrave had 11 sacks, dog. Okay, I didn't know that. 16 quarterback hits and a forced fumble. Played for Philly last year. Dalvin Tomlinson is a name. I like him. I like him a lot. All right. Played 13 games, 535 snaps, 42 tackles, 3 sacks, 10 quarterback hits, a forced fumble. Right. Let's see who else. And listen, we were willing to sign Jonathan Hankins, who was 30 years old when we signed him. Somebody like Thompson, who was only 38. Somebody who like Hargrave, who was only 30 himself. Like you should not, you know, poo poo on the idea of bringing somebody in just based on age. We already got some good production from a guy who was a little bit older. So, like as long as they can still play, like I don't care about their age. I'm not trying to bury them for the next 10 years. I just need some good runs, some good run defenders. The next couple of years where I'm trying to make a Super Bowl run. But Osa played pretty decently. Bohannon is the guy that regressed. Bohannon and Neville Gallimore are the two guys at the defensive tackle position that we did not get what we needed to get out of. And Osa, he played his role and he played it well. So I'm not upset at Osa about anything. Like Osa, out of the guys in our defensive tackle room, I think he had the better season of all these other guys. Now it may not be good enough, right? Because we need some real run stuffers, to clog the hole in the middle. But yeah, I need us to be better in the middle. We might. I really would bring in like a couple. Osa and Bohannon might be gone. That's a possibility. Yeah, I agree with signing Hankins. I bring Hankins back because when you look at his advanced numbers, like we were way better run defense with him on the field. Like like teams average like an entire yard less when he was on the field. So like that's good production. You were barely paying him anything. I think his cap hit was like only $1 million and some change, and he won't have a high market this year. Like he is a guy who is going to be $1 million or so player for the rest of his career. So I bring him in. I bring him back, and I bring him back. Cheap deal, and I still go out and put some key resources in getting a better defensive tackle. So like I would prefer a defensive tackle rotation of Osa, Hankins, and like Hargrave or Payne or somebody like that over what we have right now. And I don't think I'm crazy for saying that because there's no way you're getting good defensive tackle play, and you're consistently towards the bottom in run defense. Because those are the main. I know we put a lot of this on linebackers when that's really not the case. Like the trenches start up front. Stopping the run starts up front with your defensive tackles. So you don't if you don't have good run stopping defensive tackles or they undersized and get washed out, then your linebackers have to play downhill too much. They are getting contacted way more than they should, and that's when guys get injured. So just by upgrading your defensive tackle position, I feel you will get better linebacker play. Gonna let that big nasty defensive tackle eat up space in front of them, open up the lane so they can fill them. So I would love for us to get the run Payne. Like I just don't think after what they announced, with him probably getting the franchise tag, I just don't see how it's going to be possible. But one of the other guys like Tomlinson or Hargrave, if he's not available, I take him. And then there's a couple guys in the draft that I will go after. There's going to be quite a few, noteworthy defensive tackles this year. Then Sheldon Rankins is available. I just don't know about Sheldon, man. It- I don't know about Sheldon, but yeah, that's where I'm at with them. Big Tex Dallas. Don't be surprised if we cut Tyron, bring him back cheap to be a swing tackle. I wouldn't mind if we get Jeffrey Simmons from the Tennessee Titans. See, I'm familiar with his name, but I'm not familiar with his game. Because even when we were supposed to play him this season, like he didn't play. They held him out for the pivotal matchup against the Jaguars the next week. So I haven't seen a lot of Jeffrey Simmons. But I definitely, since you brought him up, I'll go ahead and pull up his stats. All right, so Jeffrey Simmons. All right. 6'4", 305-pound defensive lineman. Had 7.5 sacks this year, 25 solo tackles, a forced fumble. Played at Mississippi State. Okay, 25 years old. All right, so let's see. He got 19 pass deflections, two forced fumbles, has 21 career sacks, has 2 seasons of 7 or more sacks. Okay, and he played, and listen, he played everything. He's been left defensive end. He's been a defensive tackle. He's been a right defensive end. So like I like his versatility at the very least. So like he gives you a lot of like you can line him up and he can really get after guys too. Eastside Harold said he's trash. Well, Eastside Harold, you played them boys a lot too, don't you? That boy in your division. Hey, the boy got 16 sacks in the last 2 seasons. He had 8.5 sacks the year before. And he had 7.5 sacks this year. So I just need to see what his grade is against the run. Let's take a look. Yeah, and he graded out with a passing grade against the run. So yeah, I signed him. I signed him. And listen, him being able to rush the passer is secondary to me. Cause we got Michael Parsons, we got Demarcus Lawrence, Armstrong, Sam Williams. Like we got all kinds of guys that can rush the passer. So him being able to rush the passer is cool, but that's secondary to me. But since he is a solid run defender, he only had 1 season being shaky against the run, and all the other ones were above average. I'll take him. But I take him. AJ Brown didn't look like that with the Titans, but he made a lot of plays on against the Texans. Yeah, yeah, is that true? We need run stoppers. Yeah, man, we definitely need run stoppers because we have enough pass rushers. We have the pass rushers, and odds are we'll probably draft another pass rusher in the draft, right? So we have plenty of guys. We got a guy who had 8.5 sacks, right? In Armstrong, Michael Parsons had 13 sacks 2 seasons in a row. DeMarcus Lawrence had 6.5 sacks this year. Sam Williams, when he gets a bigger role, he's going to explode. He had 4 sacks this year. It was only a rotational piece. So, getting out the quarterback, I have no concerns about that. But stopping the run, that's something that we have not consistently done in years. I think the last time that we were even a decent run defense was like 2017. Because you can't say 2018 because we allowed almost 300 yards on the ground in the playoff game. So, we haven't been a good run defense in years, dog. So, and listen, once we fix that one Achilles heel, this defense is going to go to the next level just based off the fact you really don't want to throw the ball against us because we got Micah Parsons ready to sack the passer. We got Trayvon Diggs ready to pick the ball off, the run Bland, all these good guys in the secondary. Running the ball against us is our biggest weakness. And if we can sew that up, then like teams will not be able to move the ball against us consistently. In my opinion, Hurts doesn't have the strongest arm. He threw a duck at the end of the Super Bowl. They make the way you beat them, that team is to stop the run. Yeah, yeah, you got to stop the run against them, especially the quarterback run. No, that what makes Jalen Hurts dynamic is his legs. That is what makes him dynamic. But hey, man, I've been on here for an hour and six. I'm gonna probably go back live later on with West Coast if he's still up to it. But I will be probably going live later on. So just tune back in. I appreciate the love and support that y'all shown to me. Never want any time to pass by without letting y'all know that and how much it means to me. So hey, I will be back later on, and y'all have a good one, man. Peace.